So if you've got a colleague in Los Santos who runs a very successful agency and drives a Lambo, you don't want to be outdone when you turn up, do you? So you better bring something like this, your shiny new Bugatti Chiron. Welcome back to the channel and the showcase series where I take a deep dive into one of the cars from my garages. So today we're looking at the Truffade Nero in game, or the Chiron in real life. This is one beast of a car, to be honest. 1500 horsepower from an 8-litre quad-turbocharged W16 engine. It all goes through a DCT gearbox, and from there all that power is put onto the road through a four-wheel drive system. Now, needless to say, with all that hardware in the car, it's no lightweight. In fact, the Chiron weighs approximately 2 tons. Production of this car has been limited to 500 units and they are all sold. Some still have to be made, but I'm afraid you're too late to order one. Anyway, looks like her meeting's finished, so let's see how it drives. I remember when the Chiron was launched, I think it was Chris Harris driving a pale coloured one round I first saw. And I remember looking at that semicircular massive vent that goes behind the doors, which is the character feature of the car, and thinking, I don't actually like this. I have never really quite liked the shape. However, I bought one of these in a sale recently, and I love the shape of the in-game car. I think it actually looks nicer than the one that it's based on. I also prefer the grille on this. I think that works better than the sort of 1920s grille glued onto a hypercar, which is what you get with the more recent Bugattis. So I may be a fairly new owner of this car, but I'm a very enthusiastic one. If you've been watching, it tends to crest most of the bumps that are on the road without being deflected, and as we know, some cars that is not the case in this game. I think what Rockstar have done is simulated the very heavy weight of the car, that it just rides things. It corners very neutrally. It's hard to get the car to understeer. Occasionally it will oversteer, which is always good fun, something like that. It sounds pretty good as well. And then you have the pièce de résistance, the active spoiler, which not only comes up at speed but will also flip like an air brake to help you slow down. To help me evaluate cars in a traffic-free environment as well as compare to competitors, I like to do a lap of this racetrack. Now, there are cars where I've had to do 20 laps to try and get a good time because the car was a little bit flighty. However, with this car, I only did 7 laps, and my best lap time was about halfway through. It was all very consistent, about 55.5 seconds. It nearly always rode the bumps okay, as I discovered in town, and being four-wheel drive, the usual slow in but fast out technique worked very well. And even on the keyboard, consistency was quite easy to come across. So it's lovely, it's easy to drive in this racing environment, but 55.5 seconds roughly, that's 3 seconds greater than I got when I tested the Emerson and the Krieger for the video a couple of weeks ago. So competitive it is not. If you want to customize your Chiron the same as mine, then all performance parts to maximum, secondary colour splitter, the exhaust carbon surround, xenon lights or maybe even the white lights. For paint it's ultra blue metallic with an ultra blue pearl and a midnight blue secondary. I went for a saddle brown interior, it might be a fraction dark on the brown. The skirt needs to be secondary colour. The wheels come from high end, they are the chromatic Z wheels painted bright blue, and of course finished off with a light smoke on the glass. Well, while she dispenses with some more slow moving traffic, it's time to give this car a rating. For looks I give it 5 stars, that's more stars than I give the original, as I mentioned before. I think it's a superb looking car. For driving, I'm going to give it 4 stars. That's 1 star taken away simply for not being competitive in the class, but otherwise, really great car to drive around the place. For value, I'm going to give it 5 stars. 1.5 million, it's not over the top price-wise for such a nice car to drive. and so definitely something that you should be able to afford to add to your collection with just one Caio Perico heist, really. Also, should be noted, you can take it to Benny's if you want, pay more money and make the custom, which I think is wildly customizable and has maybe slightly different performance. I don't want to do that with the car, but maybe you do. So overall, in fact, this car gets some of the highest star ratings I've ever given on the channel, even though you won't win any races with it. So I'd just say go out and pick one up, to be honest. I hope you found this useful, informative, and thank you so much for watching.